right, folks, we'll get started here in about a minute or two, okay? So just hang tight. Let me make sure the audio is okay. So testing on the old audio there. All right, good. Looks like audio is A-OK. Outstanding. Okay, hope everybody's doing good out there. All right, we're going to get started in just a minute. So listen, when you show up here, have your stocks ready to go. And we'll be glad to give you a second opinion. I'll turn the music off in just a bit.
Bullish reversal bar entry now.
All right, let's go ahead and get started, and welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. All right, this is something we're going to be doing each and every week to go over stocks that are of interest to you. We're going to take a look at both ETFs and stocks, so you can type in anything you want. I think we'll start with Bitcoin, the ETF on Bitcoin at first. So go ahead and start typing those symbols in now. And before we actually get to the charts, let me just go through a few administrational items. First thing I want you to be able to do is, of course, like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends about this. We're trying to build the channel. The channel's brand new. You know, we only started, last week? And so, we're not going to have many viewers right now, but we want to build this over time. So bring your friends, relatives, whoever you know, tell them to come on by. This will be a great place for you to get a second opinion using technical analysis on markets you may be in, maybe considering to go in. And also we're going to talk about target prices on things you might be in, and also stops, where you should get out of the market in case things don't go well. And as everybody says, smash that like button, okay? Like, subscribe, and share. All right, so we all know that, of course, trading the financial markets, there's risk involved, but like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand. Just check with your financial advisor, money manager, or whoever you use there to advise you on your financial matters, to be sure things that we talk about here, trades we suggest, are suitable for you, because we don't know your personal situation, and of course they do. So that's really important. All right, if you want to learn more about me and my company, traderscoach.com, and what we do, I've written 4 books, all published by major publishers out there. Wiley has published our books, and McGraw-Hill. I deal with everything from risk control all the way to different forms of technical analysis. So you can check those out on YouTube. And we're going to put a bunch of links. You actually should see them now down below the video that you can click on to learn more about our books, our trading system, and so forth, which brings us to the next slide, which we call the ultimate trading system. So I've been doing this for over 30 years now, and what I've done is devised a trading approach that I feel works really excellent. I've tried a lot of different approaches. I basically have taken the things that I like from some of them and have really added those to my system. So this is a complete system that deals not only with entries and exits, but also strict risk control and how to find stocks in markets that you like to trade. So just want to run that by you. And I want to thank everybody for being here as well. All right, so let me end this slideshow here and get to it. All right, so you're going to see me look off to the side here. That's because I'm looking off to the chat area. Let's go ahead and get going. First stock I'm going to do while you're typing in yours is Gbtc. There's a lot of interest in this. Now, before I get going, a couple things you need to know about what you're looking at here. Notice I have 3 charts up here. I have one over here, one here, and one here. And they're all of the same market, but different time frames. So what I've done here is I've put the 60-minute chart on the far left. That kind of gives us a shorter term view of a market that you may be looking at. Then in the center I have the daily chart. This is kind of the intermediate trend. And then on the far right I have the weekly chart, which is over here, and that's the long-term trend. All right, so those are the three charts that we look at whenever we look at a market. And the reason we do it that way is because we have found over time that this gives us better entries and also helps us determine better exits. So that's kind of why we're looking at it. All right, so I'm going to open up some of these charts one at a time here. And I'm going to start with the long-term weekly chart on Gbtc. Now this is the ETF for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is very popular today. And I'm going to draw in some numbers called the Elliott wave. And an Elliott wave, basically there are 5 waves in a trend. And a lot of technicians like this, and we do too. And basically it categorizes movements in the markets or trends in the markets in terms of 5 waves. So this is a wave up here. That's 3. That's the most powerful. It started back here. We'll call this 0. 1, 2, 3. It retraced 4, and now it's on its last move up, wave 5, which should go higher than wave 3. So we're sitting at around $48.55 on this ETF for Bitcoin, and it looks really good. If you're thinking about going into it now, you have to be a little bit careful because your risk to reward, how much you could risk versus how much you could make, is not as good as it was before. Because before it was way down here, now it's way up here close to the target zone. So that's the only problem with that. Now, a couple indicators at the bottom you need to know about them. First of all, we have something called the owl down here. And this is something I put together that measures momentum and helps us count the Elliott waves. And you can see the 3, 4s always have to be red or negative, and now it's climbing into a wave 5. So that would correspond to those numbers I put up here before. And then we have the PTF. Now the PTF is a great little indicator because when it's green like this, you just find the highest high in that green area. And that happened to be this high that was wave 3 that was reached back earlier this year. And so it's telling us that there's a high probability we are going to come up and go above that. So that's why that's so helpful. It's about a 75% accuracy rate. All right, so it's indicating, okay, after this correction, we're going back up. And so that kind of is in sync with the overall Elliott wave count and in sync with our target. So our target for Bitcoin, to make a long story short, is $57.77 all the way up to $78.70. So that's the target zone between these two blue lines. Now, if you're in it and you're going to be in it for a while, this is not a bad place for a stop down here below this pyramid here, so you can check that out. I'll bring up the data box window just to give us a quick look at that. And I think the data box window is somewhere behind somewhere. All right, let's see where that data box window went. All right, so anyway, let me bring that back up. Kind of like to see the data box window. All right, can't find the data box window. All right, so anyway, it's under that pyramid. You're going to have to do that at home and look that up. It's under the October low, okay? So that's kind of where that's at. All right, so let me go ahead and get to the ones you guys want to look at. And we'll start, let me go back here. And Myron, hi. James, hi. Great to have you here. Hopefully we like this format, right? All right, so first one, let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. All right, looks like Dan Perez. Hi, Dan. GDX. Let's take a look at that. We'll type that in here. And we'll see what that does. All right, so here's GDTX. Is that kind of looking what it looks like on your screen, Dan? Probably so, right? So don't forget, I've got many charts open. I've got the long-term weekly and the daily and the 60-minute. So this has been in a downtrend, all right? Is it going to continue? And the answer looks like yes, and why? All right, so we have a red PTF. Do you see that here? Just like the green one, the red one helps us to determine if a bottom's in or we're going lower. So notice here we got a low over here. That's the lowest low in that red area. So this should go down below that low according to this indicator. Is it always right? No, but it's right a lot, 75%. So that's pretty good in the markets. Now let's take a look at the short term. Look at this. This is interesting too. So we've had a big run up. We've had a movement down. You have a red PTF. It's still going down. So you have two red PTFs on the 60 and the daily. So that's a strong indication. Short term and intermediate term, you're heading down, okay? So when it gets below here, this PTF will probably turn yellow and go neutral, and at that particular point, you want to move your stops fairly close. Right now, you can keep your stops pretty liberal, but because you don't want to get wiggled out on volatility. But this looks pretty good to the downside, okay? Dan, thank you. All right, hopefully that helps. All right, we got a lot of stocks to look at. I love it. All right, Myron, let me get to you. REGN, how are you doing today? All right, so give me a second. Let's let that load here. All right, hopefully that's what you're seeing on your side there, Myron. All right, so this is kind of an interesting situation because we have PTFs of different colors on the different time frames. So let's go ahead and take a look. So long term, we have a green PTF. So the longer term trend is bullish, and we should take out that high. All right. We also have a bullish pyramid sitting down here, part of the ART trading system. ART stands for Applied Reality Trading. And so that's bullish on the long term. Let's take a look at the intermediate term. All right, so intermediate term, we've had a movement down. Let me just open this up for you so you can see it better. How's that? All right, so we've had that movement down here. All right, this pyramid has been stopped out, so no longer short trade would be in place here. We do have a red PTF that's very close to going green. All right, now if it goes from red to green, that's one of the 25% times it's wrong. Okay, so we got to pay attention to that if it turns. Now, what's interesting here is the 60-minute chart is very bullish. Look at that, all right, with a pyramid here too. So we don't want to, if you have a short position at this point, you probably exited it already at the pyramid. If you have a long position currently, probably okay to keep it. However, you have to realize that if the market turns around and goes bearish here, and this chart turns bearish over here, then we may take out this low here. My speculation is we have a really strong owl and a really strong momentum on the 60-minute, and we had a pretty big movement up here on the weekly. I got a feeling that this may change to green, and if that's the case, then at this particular point, you're good to go for a long trade. Now, if you're considering a long trade, I'd wait until the daily chart gets bullish, okay? Thank you for sharing that one. That's GDX. Let's take a look at REGN and see what we got cooking for that one. Give that a second to load, okay? REGN. Oh, I think that's the one I just looked at, sorry. Okay, so I got so many coming in here, it's hard to read them all. All right, how about OWL? ICLN. ICLN. Let's take a look at that one. Hat trick. Okay, I'll talk to you about that in a minute. All right, so here is ICLN. So ICLN, as you can see on the weekly chart, which is the chart on the far right, we've got a bullish PTF. All right, we've had our 3, we've had our 4. We still have some bearishness here, but look at this. The dailies are picking up, and so is the short term. So it looks to me like we're probably climbing into what we call that Elliott Wave 5. So let's bring this up here and just do a few quick little analysis here. So we've had a move down. Let's just see where that retracement is there. So it hit the high probability retracement zone, which is a good thing. You want that. And now let's put a target up here, Fibonacci Extension, and we'll just run this from here, assuming a bottom here. And so our target, our first level of our target's at $36.74. And if you notice with the green PTF, the highest high is there. So it looks like probably we'll get into that target zone, okay? Now, if you're going to take a trade here, try to put your stop as low as you can. Calculate your trade size, do all that kind of stuff. And if you're not using risk control, please come by our website and take one of our courses on risk control, because you can't be successful in this business without it. All right, so you want to be able to set your stop low, either here or here at this time if you're going to go in. You may even want to wait for this to turn green, okay? But I think probably you could go in now, because when I looked, it looked like we have a very bullish daily chart. So the short-term charts are bullish. I'd go long, okay? Now, you may get a pullback, all right, and get a pyramid form in here that you can wait for. but this is one you don't want to miss. Okay, so ICLN, I'm bullish up to a target of at least 36.74. Okay, all right, let me see what else. And then Al, that one's for you. Hat Trick, hello. Before you sign off, please comment about the background photo, Nantucket Lightship. Boy, you noticed. Boy, I'm impressed. So I grew up in the East Coast in New York, and on Long Island specifically. And I used to do a lot of sailing, and I loved going to Nantucket. I used to sail all around the Northeast there, Newport, Rhode Island, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I have that there. It brings back good memories, right? All right, so now I'm out here in San Diego, and I love San Diego too. All right, so yeah, Gene, I saw that. All right, let's move on. Let's go for, this is for SL. All right, Stuart, I think that's you. GLD, two good ones to look at. So there's been a lot of talk about gold and silver. And usually the metals are a place people go during times when they think the equities market is going to not do too well. So let's take a look at that, okay? So let's give that a second to load here. And I think we'll try to get all these loaded. So what I'm going to do here is take a look at the weekly chart first. Let's really give this a good looking over. Now, I'm going to put a little more history on so we can kind of see the footprint of the market here. And this is important because back in 2011, we had a high here. And that high was an Elliott wave 3. Remember our numbers. Then we had kind of a complex low correction, bringing it down to a 4. And guess what? Now we went sideways, which sometimes you do after a 4. And then it broke out. And now here's where we are here. All right, so I anticipate this to get up to the target zone at this point. Now, what was tricky about this is notice we went above the target. We went above wave 3 back here, right? So if you didn't have the PTF here telling us we were going to make another high, you may be very uncertain about whether gold's going to continue up. And with the PTF green, it's basically saying, yes, it is. All right, so what's going on? All right, so this was probably a minor 3. This was a minor 4, and we're going into 5, possibly. Let's check the lower time frames to see if that timing makes sense. And that brings us to the daily chart. Let's open that up. Now, the daily chart's going to basically have the same overall pattern, but more price bars in it than the weekly chart, because each price bar represents a day here, and on the weekly chart, they represent a full week. So a little bit different story here because of this. See the red PTF? So basically, if you find the lowest low in that red PTF area, we're probably looking at around here, okay? So it's showing short term, it's going down. So you would not want to take this pyramid until this either turns yellow or abruptly turns green, and you have to have a green owl. But for right now, I would not enter gold at this point. Now, if you're in gold and your stop is far away, you're not going to have a problem. Some people have entered gold and put their stop here. Okay, that should hold. The only time that stop's not going to hold is if we have a disaster, and that's not a bottom. Okay, otherwise you're in good shape with that. Just stay with it. But if you're initiating a trade now, I would hold off. Wait until this chart turns more favorable. Okay, and we do still have a kind of favorable chart here. So short term, we may see some movement up and down. We just don't want to go long until we see that PTF change color on the daily chart. We have bearish momentum now coming back into the 60-minute chart. So this could be a situation also if it heads down any further, that turns this PTF red. So this is kind of you need to wait on this one, okay? Let's take a look at silver. Silver is one that I like a lot, okay? And this one turned from bearish to bullish. And so let's take a look. All right, weekly chart first. All right, we had this big move down, okay? This was not a wave 4 here, okay? The reason for that, this looked like a 3, but then it retraced. This is probably a 1 and a 2. And maybe we're getting ready to go for a big wave 3. So that could be a very good thing for a long position at this point. But it's still a little messy, okay? It's been oscillating back and forth right now. Let's take a look at the shorter term charts. So here's our situation with this. If we look at this particular short term chart, provided you put your stop at the very bottom, this possibly could be not a bad place to get in because this is yellow, no longer red, and this is green, and we have pyramids, I would not put a stop at a pyramid. I'd put it down here, because this market has not pulled back enough to test this bottom. So you want that stop at the bottom. If you want to wait and see for the test and then get in, you certainly can do that as well. But at this particular point, worth the trade, and I think we actually took this trade on the more service. Now notice we have a green PTF on the short term, but very close to going red, so we got to keep an eye on that. So I wouldn't be surprised if you get a pullback on silver, but eventually it should go. All right, should be a good long. All right, let's keep going here. Boy, I got so many here. All right, so I love it. All right, AES, is that right? I don't think we've looked at that one yet. All right, Hat Trick is saying in regards to our Nantucket lightship there, a picture. He is not familiar with the former Coast Guard. He is familiar with the former Coast Guard weather ships, especially November. Okay, there you go, which is what that is, of course. Very cool. All right, always great to hear from folks out there, because everybody has a unique story, right? All right, so let's take a look at this one. So this is AES. All right. Interesting. All right, let's open up that weekly. So as you can see, I usually open up the weekly first and kind of get the overall picture of where we are. Okay, a little messy. All right, a little messy on this chart, except the recent activity has been a lot better. All right, we had this big move down, almost looks like the Dow. All right, here's your COVID, and then boom. All right, so what's it going to do? Well, it looks to us that obviously it is in a correction. Here's the question. Is this a 3? Did we get the zigzag ABC and we're done and we're going up? Or is this a 3 with a larger A, B, C, and then it goes? So that's the million-dollar question. With Elliott wave, you can have alternate wave counts, and until the market does things to prove one way or another, you're kind of stuck between those two alternate wave counts. All right, so let's see if we can do anything here to kind of help us a little bit. So first thing we'll do is draw some fibs. Okay, so 70% of the time, wave 4s come down into this area. So we came close, but kind of missed it. 15% of the time, they're shallow. All right, right there, that makes me a little suspect that, maybe wave 4 is not over. I need to be a little careful and diligent before I jump in. Let's see what the short-term charts are showing us. All right, let's open up that daily. All right, so we've got really this. You can see this move up that we saw on the weekly. I kind of, except for the bullish owl here. All right, we don't have green here. It's yellow, and that's okay. But we don't have a pyramid. So when I have a questionable long-term chart, I'm probably going to wait for a pyramid for that better confirmation. Let's take a look here and see what we got at the 60. 60 is pretty bullish, okay? So we should get a return back to the upside. So that's bullish. So if you wanted to jump ship, so to speak, and trade a shorter time frame, in other words, take this from a long-term position trade, and when I say long-term, a 3 to maybe 6 month trade, if the trade's successful, and drop it down to maybe a 2-week trade, then you can use the 60-minute chart. All right. Now, I would wait here and see where this thing stops its move down. But wherever it stops, then we should be pretty good shape for a bullish move up according to this time frame. Stop needs to be under here. Okay. Don't go in yet. All right. Let's wait. You're still coming down. You still have bearish price bars. So let's see that momentum change at least. And you got the owl close to going red anyway. All right. So this is one I'd probably hang back a little bit. All right. Good, good, good. All right. Facebook. Let's type in Facebook. Facebook is changing its name. You guys hear that? All right. It's kind of surprised me. I guess they want a little newness in the old company there. All right. So here we have Facebook. Overall, very bullish move up. Now, this is where the owl can really help us a lot. So notice here, all right, we had the biggest owls here. So we're probably still in a wave 3. this could have looked like a wave 3 here, but when this owl got larger, that kind of made the whole thing a wave 3. So, okay, so what's it going to do now? Well, that's a really good question. And it looks to me like some momentum has come out. We can see that here of the stock. It's also come down. We do not have a red PTF, so this is neutral. When it's neutral, it's no help to us. Okay, it's just neutral. All right, so we gotta have to see. Now, what's interesting here is that we have a pyramid sitting here that has held so far. All right, so on the long-term charts, that's where you'd want your stop. So if you've been in this for a long time, that should basically help. Let's take a look at the daily. If you're thinking about going long on this, not yet. See the pyramids when they're red and pointing down? That means they're bearish. So we're still coming down. We have a bearish owl. So don't go long on this one. If anything, this would have been a short trade on this time frame. And then, of course, let's take a look at the 60 for any clarity. And it looks interesting here, like we had a move down here, a retracement. We'll have to wait and see on this. We'll have to wait and see if this thing is over yet or not. Okay, your stop on this, if you're trading the dailies, is going to be right around, I don't know, 340 and some change. Okay, all right, so let's keep going here. Twitter, TWTR. Stuart, you are hitting all the social medias today. All right, so let's take a look at this. Long term, you can kind of see why I like using the 3 time frames. Kind of gives you a good idea of what's going on. All right, so very basic here. Big move up, 3. We got a green PTF, more highs, but we got a bearish price bar. So let's first of all draw those fibs in and see kind of where we are. And I'm going to use this point here and draw it all the way up to here, because it looks like it moved up here, trailed back, so that's probably a 2 there. So it's coming down, all right? So it is definitely moving down into the retracement area, which is a good thing. The thing is that the move down, you don't want to go long yet, I don't think, because this is red, all right? Let's get a little confirmation on that by looking at the short-term charts. So yeah, this is moving down. You can see a red owl here, and notice on the 60-minute chart, very bearish. So if you're thinking about going into Twitter, don't. Wait. Okay, wait until those short-term charts turn bullish, and then take advantage of the bullish PTF on the long-term chart. So short-term going down, long-term it'll come back up according to what the tools are telling us. All right. Oh my goodness, look at all these coming in here. Okay, so this is great. All right, let's see what we got here. Zeke says new company, but not a new CEO, referring to Facebook. All right, so let's see. PACB. All right, this is for PP. Hello, PP. All right, give that a second to load, okay? All right, looks like we might have looked at this one. Did we look at this last week? I can't remember. Anyway, all right, bullish PTFs across all 3 time frames. Not bad, right? We have a red owl here, and we have a bearish pyramid trading point taking advantage of this move down. All right, here's your first entry, boom. So you want to cover that because the prices went above that. You want to wait for this to turn green, and it should turn green because the 60-minute is there. So I am liking this. All right, let's open up this weekly chart here. Okay, so I am liking this. I think I'd put the stop here. Let's ensure that we don't get wiggled out of this position. You know, don't you hate when you're right about an analysis, but your stop is like a tick or two too close, you get stopped out, and then it takes off, right? So if you put it at the very bottom, the only way we're going to get stopped out is if our analysis is pretty much absolutely wrong. In other words, this wave 4 is not bottom yet. So this is a 3, 4, so it's going up here. So I'm liking this trade. Now, let's just draw a fib extension in here. And these are approximate. So that's pretty much in sync with the PTF, right? Okay, so that's where it's going, up there. Let's take a look at the short-term charts here. All right, what I'd like you to do on this is wait for that chart here, this to turn green, and then maybe wait for a bullish pyramid, okay? because there's been a lot of volatility, a lot of mess. If you want to go long when this turns green, fine, but make sure you put that stop below the bottom of 4, which I told you was way over here, okay? And you're getting in early enough that that should be no problem with your risk to reward to the target zone. That's actually a really good one. BRKR. So you see a lot of these, when everybody kind of participates like this, it's really great, because what this does is it allows you to maybe find some opportunities here you weren't aware of. So they're kind of good. All right, so let's see what we got cooking here. Again, very bullish on the weekly chart. Let's open that up. All right, so that's bullish, right? Now, momentum's coming down a little bit. All right, so we have to kind of be careful here to see if we're, is this a minor breath in the market, and are we going to go higher, or is this the beginning of that wave 4 that'll probably end right around here before it goes? All right, the difference is being stopped out or not, right? So let's take a look and see if the shorter term time frames can help us. And let's start with the daily. All right, so the daily's got 2 clear pyramids to the downside, but looks like stopped out. Green PTF. All right, so green PTF, but a red here. So that's a tough call. I think I'd wait for a bullish pyramid, simply because this may be an A, B, C, and then it takes off, and then the PTF would be right. So the PTF is going to be right, most likely, 75% of the time. The question is the correction over? Let's go to even a shorter time frame and see if that helps. All right, so we're having a little bullishness back in here for sure. All right, here's the way I would play this. Because the PTF is green here and we're seeing bullishness on the 60-minute, I'm going to assume this is a breath in the market and not the start of a major wave 4. Major wave 4 will drive this red, this owl red on the weekly. So I think it's going to make one more high and then go into the major wave 4. That's the way I look at this. Now, I could be wrong, and when I am, the stop will protect me, okay? But that's how I would look at that. All right, let's keep going here. I'll do as many as I can here. I know we don't want to be on too long, because I said about half an hour, but I really love doing this, and we have a lot of symbols to look at. So if you don't mind staying, I don't mind staying as well. Let's take a look at CF here. PP, I think you might have put up your entire portfolio here, which is fine. Okay, just funny. All right, so let's take a look here. We got the weekly. Notice on the weekly, all right, we just made a high here, and the PTF is now neutral. So it took out this high here, all right, and it took out this high that the PTF said would happen. We also have a greed bar here. So we're getting kind of toppy here. Take a look at the lower time frames. Well, the daily says we're going to make another high. So it's not that toppy yet. The 60-minute says we're going to make a low first. So here's how you look at this. When this is bearish and this is bullish, this means short term, this little move down is not over. That's what this chart is telling us. When it ends, we should make another high based off this. So that can help you. You still have strong momentum on the owl over here. So that's probably most likely what will happen. So if you're thinking about going into it, wait until the 60-minute chart turns bullish. And then check this daily to make sure it is still okay. All right, that's how we deal with that one. All right, ACY. Let's take a look at ACY. Do you see how fast you can look at stocks like this when you have the right tools? Having the right tools is everything in this business. And then knowing, of course, how to use them. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's open up the weekly on this. So we had a big move up. All right, notice very dormant for a long time. A year, 2 years, maybe 3. Okay, way back here. All right, and then it broke out. Okay, and then it moved back down. Very common when you get a big move for it to settle. But what was key about this is this bottom here did not go below this one. That's really important. So the bears really tried to drive it down. and then it started moving back to the upside. Look at this. Wow. Okay. So let's take a look at this. This is a bearish pyramid. You wouldn't touch that as long as this is green. Okay. These you could touch. You could go long here. And look what happened. This was the highest price bar at the time when this first formed. Right? And then what happened? The momentum was so strong it kept this green. So now this is the new target. Always take the highest high in the green area. As long as this remains green, fine. Didn't turn yellow. So that's a very, very, very bullish market right there with more highs coming. Same thing with the daily chart. The nice thing about the daily chart, it's giving us a little bit more price bar activity so we can get inside this correction. So here's what's kind of interesting. 3, A, B, C, 4 probably, and we're on our way to 5 with a pyramid. Now, a couple things here. Let's just double check the retracement areas. Okay, met that retracement, right? Now let's get rid of that and draw in the extensions. There's the target zone, $74.53 roughly, all right, up to $98.02 with a PTF above this high here close to the target. This is giving you an entry. Probably a good idea to wait for this to turn green. We may get a little pullback, test the bottom, and then it will go. So I would take a long position as soon as this turns green, provided this bottom holds, okay? And then I'd put my stop at that bottom or at the pyramid, okay? Either one. So that's looking good. Let's take a look at the short-term charts. You got the pyramid here, same thing on the 60-minute, looks pretty good. So that's how I would play that. So I really like this one. This is a good one. All right, FCEL. Now this is one here that I traded earlier that we did really well in, and then we got out, okay? So we got out on this pyramid here on the daily, but let's take a look at the weekly first. All right, so, wow, look at this thing. All right, let's first analyze this. All right, this is kind of interesting because you had a big blip up here, didn't come down to the normal retracement area and bounce off, it just kept on going. But now it seems to be bottoming, but look at this. Now the PTF, even though it's a great indicator, okay, it doesn't tell you how long it's going to take until that top price in the PTF is taken out. And you can see that on this chart. It just tells you that that high that was put in, there's a 75% probability that the market will return and take out that high. So in a case like this, all right, this was a big pullback. What we want to do is ensure a bottom is in here. And we may have one. And the beautiful thing about this possibility is that the target is way the heck up here. We're at $7.91. So if we can get in early, look at our risk to reward. And that's really good. This is close to going green, so that's a good sign. Let's see if the short-term charts help us at all on this. All right, so we got a green PTF here and a green owl. Not so bad, all right? So you could wait for a pyramid to form. You could wait for, and the pyramid probably would take out this channel here, okay? You took it out a little bit here, but you still got another high here. So might get one form in here, might get a pyramid here, and that would be a good thing if we did. So that's bullish. And we have a bullish 60-minute chart overall, so I'm liking that. So I would probably think about a long position really sooner rather than later on this one. If you wanted to wait for a pyramid, you could certainly do that. If you wanted to go in now based on this formation here off the daily that's so bullish, put your stop either here or here for right now. And then don't be so quick to move it up, all right? When the PTFs are green, you really should be not so aggressive in moving your stops too close, because markets have to breathe and you don't want to get wiggled out of your long position, you know what I'm saying? All right, so that is FC. These are really good. All right, so let's just quickly take a look here. All right, So PP, I'm going to do a couple more of yours here, and then I'm going to try to get to everybody's today. All right, so just hang in there, guys. Johnny, I see yours on the spider there, so give me a sec. All right, so here's CCI. Let's see what's cooking with that. So it's had a big run up. Nice big run up, all right? Notice these breaths in the market. This is what I'm talking about. These breaths do not indicate a major change in trend, but you get those in a trend. So you got to always be able to distinguish what's a breath in the market versus a major correction or a change in trend, right? All right, so if you were trading the pyramids, you'd be out right now. You have this bearish. You don't have any green left in the PTF, so that's neutral. And unfortunately, now you have some red down here. So if you took a short trade here off this pyramid, you'd still be short with your stop here. And notice now we're coming up to an area of inflection, which is usually 50% between the recent top and the recent bottom. So here and here, this is always an important area where the bulls and bears will battle it out to see who wins. If in this case it looks like with the red PTF the bears are going to win, we'll have to wait and see, but that's kind of what it's looking like. Is it done going up? Let's go over here and take a look. And the answer is we're seeing bearish divergence. Could be, but that's kind of bullish still on the 60 minutes. So you kind of want to be a little bit, possibly a little bit higher, but not much, I don't think. Okay, CCI. All right, and you're long CCI, right? I think probably, and again, you're going to have to use your own judgment on this. I think probably you want to think about possibly setting a stop somewhere below here to get out of your long position. Because if it goes below there, then it could go into a major wave 4 on the weekly chart. And then, if that happens, you're talking about a correction probably down to 132 to 87. So pretty significant. Okay? All right, that's CCI. All right, so last one. Okay, CDK. I'm sorry, I got two more. CDK on this. And then I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to wrap it up. All right, so let's see what we got here. Oh, Pavel. PP is Pavel. Hello, Pavel. All right, so good to have you here. Pavel is one of our long-term clients. All right, bearish here is okay. I see you're short on this one, I think, right? So that's fine. All right, you want to remain short because you've got the weekly chart short and the daily chart short. All right, the art software has your stop up here, and you can keep it there. Wait until you get another pyramid before moving it down. All right, that's CDK. And your last one, IOVA. And this one here, I think you're short too. And looks like that should be okay according to the PTF on the daily chart. So when you get green pyramids, you don't take those with a red PTF, but that's just telling you this little cycle or wave is up. That's what it's telling you. So that's kind of, now the target range on this one, Pavel, is way down here. All right, so that's a good sign. So you got a good risk to reward. I don't know when exactly you got in, but your stop may be here, not sure, okay? But either one of those should be okay for that one. All right, Kevin, let me see. Hold on. Let me just see. All right, SPY. I said SPY I would do for Johnny. Okay, let's see if we get this loaded up. Is that the right one, Johnny? Hopefully. All right, what a rocket ship, right? Okay, this is kind of interesting because the spider is very much like the Dow. We've had this tremendous run up on the long-term chart. This is telling us that it's eventually going to head down and go below here. Okay, so that's what that's telling us. All right, but on the short-term charts, bullish. So you could trade these short-term charts to the long side for sure. But you have to realize that eventually this party is going to come to an end. So there's no reason right now to get out of a long trade on this. If you're in it, you got a green PTF on the 60, and you have very bullish owl here, and that's kind of how I would play that. If you're in this already, put your stop all under here. So if you have some long-term positions in some of the I guess companies in here, look to see what each one of those companies is doing and realize that, you know, this is probably the last leg up, which is what this is telling us here. And it's kind of unusual to get this kind of movement up without changing this to green. So that's kind of an indication that we have to kind of be careful here. Okay, so I would put your stop right there, because when this thing breaks, it's going to be pretty significant. All right, let's, Kevin, let me get to you here. CLSK. And then we'll call it a day, I think. Now, if for some reason I didn't get to yours, just bring them here next week. All right, CLSK. Let's take a look here. Okay, so weekly chart bullish. Let's open this one up. So on this here, this is kind of interesting. Notice this movement here did not create a green PTF. Interesting. And notice it closed bearish too. So it went way up, but then the momentum disappeared. That's why that didn't turn it. Same thing with this one. But this one turned it. Okay, notice we have a green here. So there is a high probability we're going to get above this price range, almost double your money. Look at this pyramid. Good to go. Would like to have this green, but we may be able to have taken advantage of this if the daily chart is bullish, and it was at the time these pyramids are in. So you could take this pyramid here, you look down here, green. As long as this is not red, you're good to go, and you even had a green there. So you're good on this one. So question is, I think with a green PTF on the long-term weekly chart, what I would do is take a look and see where a stop would be good, because you're going to be in this one for a while. All right, so where I would use the stop down here. All right, this first pullback we had right in this area here. Let me just see. Looks like this year, I'm going to call it the low for this year. Okay, just about the low for this year. So put your stop right there. Okay, and you should be good to go. And then try not to move it up too much. Okay, try not to move it up too much. All right. What do you think? So did you like this? Was it kind of cool? Fun? We're kind of getting our feet wet with the YouTube situation. So any feedback you want to give us, we'd love to have it. And hopefully you can see the charts clearly, you can hear me well, and the whole 9 yards. So hopefully this is a good format. Okay, Scott says he likes it. Hi, Scott. Paul, smash that like button. That's right. Smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, I think everybody here chatting is. Okay, great. Oh, PP, great. All right, good. All right, so we're going to do this every Friday. All right, this is a blast, and we're trying to build the channel. So if you guys wouldn't mind talking it up, if you're in a blog or a chat room, talk it up, and let's get more people here. And I love the stock picks today. This is never ran out of stock picks, and that's a good thing. All right, so that's it for this week. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here next Friday. And thanks for subscribing. All right, we'll see you later.